Welcome to Vital Organs, paramount to the physical, mental, and spiritual well being. I'm Nate, and welcome to my podcast. This season is titled Issues of the Heart. We will be focusing on how we protect our hearts and making sure that we are fulfilling its desires. You're listening to Vital Organs, the podcast. Welcome to Vital Organs, paramount to the physical, mental, and spiritual well being. There's an old saying that I remember hearing as a kid: laughter is medicine, and that remains true today. Laughter is Medicine is a series within this podcast to bring joy and laughter to you. One way that I keep my heart muscle strong is by spending time laughing, eating, and hanging out with my family. On this episode of Laughter is Medicine and Vital Organs, the matriarch of our family is joining us. Raising 3 children, working, caregiving for a disabled husband was one of the most trying times my mom has been through. But through it all, she remained hopeful, jovial, and did not let that stop her from providing all of us with a childhood full of love and comfort. This episode of Vital Organs is an introduction to my mom, Jackie, formerly Smith, and recently Thompson. Welcome to Vital Organs, Mother.
Hi, Nate.
Hi, Mom. So, this episode of Laughter is Medicine, we're going to be sharing some hilarious stories of my childhood, some things that you've dealt with in life. And my mom can tell you that I was the kid that did not get obsessed with very many things like games, TV shows, sports. So it made it really hard for my parents to find ways to ground me. Eventually, they figured out what worked, and that was what, Mom?
Whoop that butt.
Whoop that butt. Let's pull this mic down some for you. Whoop that butt. What did you, how did you come about figuring out what worked for me when it came to discipline?
Grounding him never worked. He turned it into a game. Okay, don't get upset, Nate. But
I don't get upset. Yes, okay. I do. Let me stop lying.
So when he was little, he wouldn't take the time to just go use the bathroom. He would just pee on himself.
Oh, gosh.
And then
to tell people
then he'd come in and change his clothes or whatever. And
at least I didn't ask you to do it for me. I just went ahead and did it.
He went ahead and did it. So one time he started playing t-ball and he hated it. And I didn't realize how bad he hated it. Yeah. So what he actually did, he went outside. I said, if you pee on yourself one more time, I'm going to make you quit t-ball. He goes outside, wasn't out there probably less than 10 minutes. Came back. He said, I peed on myself. Can I quit t-ball now? That's the kind of kid that I have been working with for the last 30 some years.
That was my first time realizing how manipulative I was.
Woo. Very.
So, Mom, we're going to begin our first game. Remember, Laughter is Medicine. We're bringing games and just having some fun with each other. So are you ready for the first game?
I hope so. I have no idea what it is. So this better not be embarrassing to me.
I mean, it shouldn't be. So I have a series of questions, and you have to answer them with the first thing that comes to mind. There's no sitting and waiting. It's rapid fire questions, and you just have to spit it out as soon as you figure out what it is, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so here we go. What animal would you want to be in another life? Quickly. Tiger. If your life was a story, what would it be titled?
Oh, The Big, Bad, and the Ugly.
What is the ugliest thing you've ever seen?
Your dad with chicken pox on our wedding day.
Oh, gosh, that probably was ugly. Who do you text the most?
My kids.
What's your favorite body part?
Ew. My hands.
Oh, name a 4-letter word that starts with the letter M.
Make.
M-A-K-E. Good. Is your bed made right now?
It depends on what you call made.
How do you usually answer the telephone?
At work, it's Kevin Riot Benz. This is Jackie.
How do you answer your cell phone?
Depending on who it is, a lot of the times it's what.
You don't say what to me because I barely call you for things. Would you ever appear on a reality show?
Yes.
Have you ever won a contest?
Yes.
What do you wish you learned sooner?
Patience.
What movie, book, or TV show changed your life?
Oh, man. Movie,
5,
book,
4,
TV show.
3,
I will say
2.
The Notebook.
The Notebook. Okay. What do you usually wear while working?
Shirt, pants, or a dress.
Who was your favorite child? Don't answer that. That's a trick question. It better be me. What is your go-to snack?
There's so many. Peanut butter M&Ms, peanut butter ice cream, chocolate.
So basically peanut butter and chocolate in any form.
Some forms, yes.
Yes, my mom is a very picky eater. She, if the texture is not right, if it doesn't smell right, if it doesn't look right, it's not coming near her mouth. She won't even attempt to try it. Even though as kids, she used to try to force us to try new foods. But she doesn't practice what she preaches all the time.
No, because you try to make me smell tuna every time you make it.
And that's not that often.
I want to throw up.
That is not that often. So I want our viewers and listeners to understand how you and Dad first met. What were some of those first things, and how quick did you meet and get married and all that stuff?
Well, I started working at Kmart on the south side of Elkhart when I was 16. I turned 17 and stayed there 18, 19, 20.
Longevity on the job.
Had my first baby. Shelly was born when I was working there in 1986. And I heard him say there was going to be a new manager coming in. And I don't know why, but I heard someone say his name was Nathaniel Smith. And I had this weird thing that just came over me as like, that's going to be your husband. And so when he actually got there and I saw him, I was like, he sure ain't going to be my husband. He was just not the type of person that I would have.
He wasn't her type.
Yes.
I was trying to be nice. He wasn't your type.
He was not my type.
What was your type?
Taller, a better dresser than him.
Listen, my dad was the one that would wear button-up short sleeve shirts. If that kind of gives you a clue.
That's the whole manager look with a tie.
Yes.
And that sort of stuff. And he lived and breathed IU Bloomington University. So
to the point when once he became disabled, somebody gave us this huge IU magnet and we had to put it on the back of the van, and it's sitting on our front door right now.
Yep. And it's going to stay there.
Well, keep going. So you met him, the new manager came.
Yep.
He was not the man that you envisioned.
Mm-mm. But something just kept like drawing me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went home and this is so long ago. I called information and I found his phone number. And so the next morning that I went to work, it was around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And there was people outside waiting to get in for these specials, these after Christmas or after Thanksgiving Day. He opens it up. And when I walked in, I walked past him and I said, 294-9483. Something like that. 293-9483. And he turned around. Who gave you that number?
That's some like stalker level stuff, Mom.
What can I say? And so then later on, I go home and I'm in my room and my parents say, Jackie, you got a phone call. I answer it and it's your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he got my number just like I got his. But he said he went through all the Cassopolis stuff. And it wasn't even a Cass number. It was a union number. But it's still, we had a Cass address. So somehow we connected. The early times when we first decided to go out or get something to eat or whatever, he was so cheap. He wanted to go Dutch. Me pay mine.
That's Dad.
And him pay his. And then I had Shelly, so she had to go too. We were at a Chinese restaurant in Elkhart called Mark's. And Shelly's in a high chair and has a fork, and she dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady behind your dad picked up the fork, turns around to him and says, here, your baby dropped this. He said, her baby.
He said, I am not cuffing you yet.
Right. So I was like, okay, we're going to get ready to go. Why? I said, cuz you made it clear you're not ready to have dinner or anything with a baby or me or whatever. And no, he invited us to his apartment, and Shelly was crawling around on the floor. She crawled through. He had an open end coffee table. And
My
he
dad
had
loved his coffee
books
tables.
under there. Shelly cleared them out so that she could climb and crawl through them. And then she was on the couch with me, and she stood up on the couch. This piece of couch wasn't even a couch. Somebody made it. And it was just a flat platform with a cushion on it, and then an angled back cushion.
That's because Dad was cheap.
Cheap. And he had it in college. And he said, oh, if I had good furniture, she'd be walking all over it. I said, but you don't. It is what it is.
How did Dad know that you were not fully white?
Oh, he knew right away. He said, I know. It's all in the lips and the hips.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
So they met at Kmart. How long between you meeting and getting married?
Ooh.
Like the initial time you met to the time where he proposed? Or
This is so scary. And I don't want anybody, any young person to even think that this is okay. We met, became engaged, and married within 6 months.
Wow.
And
It takes 6 months for somebody to show that they're crazy, let alone court, get engaged, and get married all within 6 months.
Yes.
What was that factor that made you be like, okay, he's the one?
My dad didn't throw him out.
That's a big deal because Grandpa,
He didn't play.
he's a no BS type of guy. He's one, I'd make fun of him because I'm like, he follows the law. He's one like,
oh my gosh.
if it's illegal, don't bring it in my house. Don't bring it around me.
His famous thing is, that's strictly against the law.
Yes. That's Grandpa. Oh my goodness. As kids, we always played games. I remember having families over on game nights, your coworkers over on game nights. And one of the games that I really remember the most is Categories.
Oh, man.
I loved that game.
Best.
Even though I could barely spell. If you don't know what Categories is a game where you have a dice. Well, you have different categories.
You have different categories, but on this, you have a weird kind of dice with lots of flat surfaces.
It had the alphabet on each side.
Yes.
Minus a few letters.
Yes.
And so there were different categories. And once you rolled the dice and you chose the category, you had to choose that whatever letter was on the die.
Well, the category was there already.
Okay.
You roll the dice, and you have to name something that starts with the letter
Of that category. For instance.
Something in that category that starts with the letter if you rolled an L.
So something might be food. A category might be food. Mm-hmm. So you roll the dice, L comes up, and you have to list as many items that consist of food with the letter L. So you put lettuce and
lobster and
lentils.
Lemon and yes.
So that brings me into the next game. So we're going to do a version of categories.
Oh, God.
I'm going to choose the letter for you, and you have to think of answers. You don't get to sit and think of the answers before we give the statement. But after each statement, after each statement that I make, you have to name something with that letter in that statement, okay?
Okay.
So because I'm the favorite child, the letter is N. I am the favorite child.
He's my favorite son. Let's get that straight.
I'm her only son, so therefore... I'm the favorite child. I beg to differ. However, so here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Items in a vending machine that start with N.
Nutter butter cookies.
Things you replace.
That starts with an
N.
Nylons.
Things you shout.
The N word sometimes.
No?
Yeah. No.
Okay, I hope it's not the other N word. Song titles.
Loving You by Minnie Riperton.
Starts with an N.
Oh.
Song that starts with an N.
A song that starts with an N. Never ever. No. I don't remember.
Okay, we're going to skip that one. A fruit.
Starts with N.
Mm-hmm.
Nectarine.
A bad habit. Brr. Spices or herbs.
Nutmeg.
Nutmeg. What did Granny call nutmeg?
Nutmeg.
Nutmeg. Listen, I was on TikTok the other day, and there's this lady. There's this lady that I watch, and I always send it to my mom. She's an older lady that cooks, and she was making a sweet potato pie or something, and she kept saying, "Yep, we're gonna put some nutmeg in it." So I don't know if that's like a Southern thing or a generational thing or a cultural thing, but nutmeg. Yep. Footwear.
New Balance.
New Balance. Something you keep hidden.
Nothing.
Ice cream flavors.
Neapolitan.
Biblical names.
Nehemiah.
Things you get at the movies.
Nuts.
Nuts. And things you can't buy.
Niceness.
Niceness. That's a good one. You can't buy niceness, and we just need more people to be nice in the world.
Don't.
Especially in this day and age.
Got
It's
some
awful.
raunchy people.
Raunchy. And you working in customer service,
Mm-hmm.
and I work in the schools, like we come across some really nasty, and even some nasty nice people. They think just because they flip it, we can read in between the lines of when somebody's being nasty nice.
Yes. We were well educated.
And my mom
like
can be
that.
nasty nice sometimes too.
I try not to be, though.
Try not to be. My parents made it a point to raise us in church, and I can say that is one of the best things that you and Dad could have done for us. Our family has been members of Faith Alive Ministries, formerly Apostolic Ministries, for over 32 years, and I can say I'm sure that you will agree that our church, especially the Miller family, supported our family and cared for us since the time that we started going there. What are some things that the church has done for the family, or even for you, that has shown support?
Wow. I don't even know where to begin there. One of the first things was shortly after we started going there, I lost my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely came to Michigan from South Bend to the service, and Sister Miller and her sister sung at the funeral. My family fell in love with them, and that was the beginning part. As your dad started getting sick,
Mm-hmm.
there was one Sunday that I had no idea this was going to happen. I remember sitting in the in the congregation, and they said, "We have a family in our church that are in need of some serious things." And they started talking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I think they're talking about us."
Mm-hmm.
And they took up a collection in 2 services that purchased Big Nate,
Big Nate is what we call my dad.
Yes,
They call me Little Nate. Don't any of you. If you didn't know me as a kid, I better not ever hear you call me Little Nate, because you're gonna get a nasty, nice response from me.
Okay, now we got that.
We got that put out there.
Okay, so they collected enough in 2 services to purchase a brand new Hoyer lift for my husband,
Mm-hmm.
and a reclining wheelchair, so that because he couldn't sit up straight, he would kind of fall over to the side, or he was in pain, a lot of pain,
And the multiple sclerosis caused him not to have like core.
Yeah, his core
His
strength.
core strength was not
Right, because
there.
if you lose the ability to walk,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to have core strength.
Yeah.
Unless you were, injured in some way where only maybe you just lose the use of your legs. But his attacked his entire body. Other things that the church did was they actually allowed me to work for the daycare.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Even though I got paid, that was the biggest blessing that anyone could ever give me, because on days that I needed to take my husband to the doctor, which we always did in South Bend, they allowed him to come to work with me. they let me have the time off that I needed anytime I needed to do something for him or with him. It was just a godsend. And I worked for them in the daycare 7 years at least.
I know one of my earliest memories of when I really, really knew the church supported us was right after you lost the baby.
Oh, yeah.
And that was 90.
Lauren was born in 95. This was
it 97?
Yes, February of 97.
So my mom had a miscarriage. You were how far along?
4 months.
4 months. And so I remember we were at church, and this is not planned to talk about, but we were at church, and then my dad was home with my sisters for some reason.
Well, your dad, his MS was acting up.
Okay.
And I think Lauren had a little stuffy nose or something, or Shelly's asthma or something.
Because I know Shelly and Lauren were not with us.
Nope.
And I was at church. I remember them coming out and whispering something in our bishop's ear, and he's like, let's just stop and pray. Sister Jackie's on the other side, having some health concerns. And I'm sitting in the church, and one of the other kids my age was like, I think your mom just passed out. And I'm like, oh my God. What do I do? I am 45 minutes from home. This is before cell phones. And at that point, he left the pulpit and stopped preaching to go over and pray with you. And we had certified nurses, not these nurses in these churches wearing the little doilies and the white stockings and the white Skechers.
No, they were
and all
RNs. They weren't even LPNs. They were RNs.
If you were at one of those churches, you would have got some crackers and some water and a fan and praying for you. But they brought the nurses over and they elevated her feet, and they realized at that point when she got to the hospital that she was having a miscarriage. And
it was a little more detailed than that.
It was a lot more detailed, but we're not going to go into that for time's sake. But I remember them, the Millers, the family, Kara and Mickey and them. We had this 12-passenger, I think, church van, and they pulled it in the alley, and then we just saw them bringing out pans of food.
Yes.
They drove all the way from South Bend to Cass, which is about 45 minutes.
It was snowing. This was February, and the weather was not the best.
Yeah.
And Nate, do you realize that you were in 3rd grade then?
No, but I'm like you. I have a photographic memory because I remember seeing them pulling out, I think they were full-size pans of food.
It was.
And
it was.
First off, First Lady, your dressing.
Oh my gosh.
I still remember it. It's amazing.
I think she even did a roast for us.
Yeah. I just remember the dressing.
And I think some macaroni and cheese. But you know what? Sister Kay she cooked some things as well. But yes, we ate for quite some time.
So this leads me in to our next game. And as kids in church, we would always, especially in Sunday school or children's church, there was a game called Swords. So I have my Bible here, and I want to test your knowledge on Bible verses. Do you know your books, and how fast can you find it? So I'm going to give you a scripture, and you have 10 seconds to find that scripture in the Bible. And I will say swords up, and make sure the bind is in your hand. Why do we have to have the bind in our hands, Mom?
So that you don't stick your finger in holding a spot and cheat.
And cheating, exactly.
Like separating Old Testament from New Testament or those type of things. I've never done that.
I can't say that I haven't or have.
Nate
I will
has
not
done
say anything in case they can incriminate me on it. So the first Bible verse, swords up, Isaiah 41:10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Isaiah 41:10.
3.
I've got it.
Okay, what is it?
It is, don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand.
Swords up.
I was about to preach.
Don't preach today. This is my show. Psalms 73:26.
You gotta say go, right?
Go. Psalm 70. You're a little faster than what I thought you would have been, because I haven't seen you carry around that Bible briefcase. 73:26.
My health may fail and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever.
Nice job. Swords up. Philippians 4:13. 10, 9, 8, 7.
For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Even so, you have done well. Oh, I just was keeping on going.
Yeah, you're supposed to read the one scripture. I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength.
Gives me strength.
Swords up. We have 3 more. 2 Timothy 1 and 7. 10, 9.
2 Timothy what?
2 Timothy 1 and 7.
Hang on. Oh, 2 Timothy.
9.
Stop it.
8. 7.
4 and 7.
1 and 7. 6, 5.
1 and 7.
4.
Whoa,
3,
hold it. I got it.
2.
I got it. I'm right here.
1. Okay, what is it?
For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. Okay, so this is a different kind of Bible.
This is a New Living Translation. We don't do the these, thous, and thus in this day and age. We got to be able to understand our word. What's the King James Version, since that's what you memorize?
After reading this, it's hard to tell.
Isn't it, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens?
No, it is not. That is not.
Well, we'll have to figure that out
God
later.
is not giving you the spirit of fear.
Oh, this is 2 Timothy.
Love,
I'm thinking of Philippians.
But of power, love, and a sound mind.
Okay.
I don't know that timidity.
Well, you better go look it up. That's what we call it.
I know what it's called.
We call that a tier 3 word in education. It's a word you don't use every day.
I don't even use it once a year.
We have to use our context clues too to show what that means.
Got my hair in your beard.
I do have your hair in my beard. You shed a lot.
I can't.
Next, swords up.
Oh, another one?
We have 2 more. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 3.
You didn't say charge, but
Charge. We haven't said charged at all. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I think you're too far back.
I think I'm too far back.
3, 2. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
And I'm trying to get there.
2.
Nope.
2. She's wrong.
It's not in this Bible.
2 Thessalonians 3 and 3. But the Lord is faithful. He will strengthen you and guard you from the evil one. And our last verse, swords up.
This Bible does not have Thessalonians.
Yes, it does. You just can't find it.
Or 2.
Swords up.
It's all fat and stuff, but it don't have the right stuff in it.
We got to tell the story of Granny in a minute when she first came to our church.
Oh, God. Okay.
Proverbs 31:25.
That has to be
10.
Stop it.
9.
Stop now.
8.
Don't do that. I don't like that part.
I told you that you have
What is
10
it?
seconds.
20 what?
31:25.
No, because I know it's the woman one.
2, 1.
You rigged these pages.
I didn't read the pages.
Yes, you did.
I can tell you I haven't read every page in this particular Bible.
31 and 9.
31 and 25.
And 25. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise.
That one verse.
And she gives instructions with kindness.
Does she? Not nasty nice.
She watches carefully everything in her house.
Stop, because I'm not paying copyright for the Bible. When we were kids, and my Granny Smith, my dad's mom, she came and visited us one weekend, and she came to church with us. And that's back in the day where the church would have a stack of Bibles in the back for people that didn't have them.
Or they would be stuck in
the pew.
On the back of the pew in front of you for you to
use
the Bible. There would be a hymnal
and a Bible.
And a Bible. And
so we had these, I called them ugly. They were these red hardcover Bibles with this little flame thing on the front. Mm-hmm. And what did she do once Bishop, Pastor Miller at the time, gave the scripture, she picked up that Bible.
Gave the scripture, she picked up the Bible, and she was flipping through, and the whole book of whatever he said was missing. So she didn't say anything right then, but on the way home, something is wrong. She said they took the whole book of so and so out of the Bible, and I'm like, oh God, no, they didn't. It probably just fell out because it was an old Bible that was donated or something. It was not intentional. And then she ended up absolutely loving the Millers after that.
Yes, she did.
And loving our church as well.
Yeah. And I purposely chose Proverbs 31:25 for the final verse of the game because you are truly a reflection of that. You're strong and you maintain your dignity. And throughout everything you went through with Dad, I can honestly say that you have laughed without fear of the future. When Dad's mobility started to decline, you were forced into being a single mom because Dad couldn't fulfill those duties. You became a caregiver, and the traditional role of the wife was thrown out the window. You became the main provider for the family by running a home daycare and braiding hair on the side. And you basically had the responsibility of keeping the household functioning as normal as possible. How were you able to do this without really throwing in the towel?
My vows. I made a promise before God and a whole bunch of people that in sickness and in health, I would take care. I would be there. And he made the same thing.
Yeah.
It happened to be he got sick and I fulfilled the vow.
You fulfilled the vow. I know one thing we do is we keep our promises. And
Yes.
especially if we make a promise in front of people and to God, we're going to maintain that.
That means something.
Yeah. And it's a testament of how important you view these things and how you keep it, keep it close to your heart. In Lauren's episode of Laughter is Medicine, we discussed that the people that were part of her support system, and you were one of those people. And I know two major people that were the backbone of your support system were Grandma and Grandpa. On January 24th, 2014, 3 days before my grandpa's 49th wedding anniversary, my grandma's heart stopped and she passed away. And this was one of the most traumatic things that I know I've ever experienced. And I'm pretty sure it's one of the most that you've
Yes.
ever experienced.
Yes.
And to honor her, I would like to play a game called What Would Pat Call It?
Oh, boy.
So I have a list of terms that my grandma would use, and I'm going to say the correct way. You have to say the way that Patricia Ann Simpson would say it. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first word is cappuccino.
Capatina.
Capatina. Couch.
Davenport.
Davenport. And it's funny because I remember our cousin Snapper, your nephew, my Aunt Tracy and Uncle Johnny's son. He asked Grandma, what did you say? And she said, I said a Davenport. And I think it was called a Davenport.
Yes.
Not a Davenport.
Right. Davenport. And that was like a name brand.
Yeah.
A good couch.
Kind of like Frigidaire
Good sofa.
and
Yes.
Kleenex.
Yes.
What would she call flip-flops?
Flappers.
Sprite.
Spurty.
Dollar General.
General Dollar.
Trash can.
Waste paper basket.
And tissue.
Paper hanky.
Paper hanky. Before the last game we played, I mentioned that Grandma played vital roles in our support system, and Grandpa still does. He still mows our lawn. He still is actively doing things. Who are some people that you can count on to tell you when you're right or when you're wrong? People that keep you in prayer and that you know will be there no matter what.
Oh, man. First person probably would be my Aunt Jackie.
Aunt Jackie, who she's named after.
That's my namesake. I'm her namesake.
Yes.
And she taught me everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she taught me how to count. She taught me colors. She taught me everything about myself.
Yeah.
And one of the main things that she taught me that molded me into knowing exactly who I am, no matter what I look like, was she taught me about the one drop rule.
Yes. Talk to us a little bit about that. Because I know not a lot of people really understand
Exactly
where it comes from, and they're like, "Well, no, you're not all the way black because you're part black because your mom is this or that."
Well, and Jackie taught me that white men made the rule.
Mm-hmm.
That one drop of black blood made you black. It made you contaminated, like you weren't any good.
Mm-hmm.
And we never felt like we weren't any good.
Right.
So we had our ancestors, great grandfathers and great grandfathers and grandmothers. They came here from North Carolina by horse and wagon and on foot to Michigan.
I didn't know that part.
They came to Indiana first, and then I think to Michigan from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I have photos. I have articles and different things, that I share with people because they don't know.
Right.
I do look like a white person. until I open my mouth.
Till she opens her mouth. Yep. And I know one thing, because I always ask her, like, man, if I was born in slave times, if I look like you, I'd be passing. There ain't no way I'm about to have somebody do something to me. But it means a lot that you hold on to your culture.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're not going to pass just because it benefits you.
Right.
Who are some other support systems?
All my dad's sisters, you know, Aunt Jackie was the most pivotal because she watched me every single day until I was 12, and I didn't want to stop going then.
Who else? So the other sisters would be Aunt Jane,
Aunt Joanne,
and Aunt Joanne.
Yep.
Who both have passed recently.
Yep.
Quite recently.
Yep. I'm drawing
John Blanks.
Right.
Your husband?
Yeah, my husband Melvin, of course.
Do you have any friends?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of friends. My best friend and sister Julie Johnson, and we've known each other since birth. 6 months apart. Lived across the street from each other, and our parents still live across the street from each other. And she married my cousin, so now we really are related. Lots of her grandma used to have a thing called Good News Club.
Yes.
And we would go over there, and she would have a Bible story, and we'd have a little snack, and I'd want to give my life to Christ.
Yeah.
Every time we went over there, Julie was like, "You don't have to do that every time.
You already did it.
You're already saved." But my best friend that came later in my life, at the time that Dad was starting to get sick, was Aunt Janice.
Yep.
And she steps in right when I need her for anything and everything. And sometimes, you know, she's there when I didn't call her, or she had a feeling, or she knew. You know, that also is very important.
So let's backtrack. You said Grandpa? The sisters? Did you say your husband?
Melvin.
And Aunt Janice, Aunt Julie.
Yep.
Anyone else you think of?
My dad.
I already said your dad.
Oh.
Okay. So we have a game. And you have to call one of the people that were on your support systems to see if they answer. Now with Lauren, I made her leave an off the wall crazy message. With you, I'll be nice because some of the people you listed are a little older and they don't appreciate rudeness or sarcasm. You ready to call them?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. You got to take these. Who are you going to call?
I was thinking about Melvin, but maybe Janice. She'll be good.
I think you should call Janice. Okay, hold on one second. You better hope she answers.
I sure hope so.
Hello?
Hey, boo.
Hey.
What's
Hey,
happening?
Aunt Janice.
Huh?
You're on Nate's podcast. He said I had to call somebody that I knew would.
Let me give you the
answer the
background,
phone.
Aunt Janice. So one of the games that I play on my podcast is we talk about the different support systems that the people that can support you in your support system. And you were one name that was brought up. And so if you answered, that means you're good. If not, because it was you, she might have left an off the wall voice message that may or may not have been offensive.
Probably not offensive. Because her and Gus gonna help us move, so I can't. Do
Yeah,
that.
you can't be offensive to that. So we won't keep you. We
Right.
just wanted to see if you truly had my mama's back.
all the
Oh,
time.
definitely.
Alrighty.
All
Well,
the time.
Alrighty.
we'll let you run. This is your
All right.
debut on Vital Organs, Paramount to the Physical, Mental, and Spiritual Well-Being, the podcast.
I love you,
right.
boo.
I love you too.
I love you, Aunt Janice. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Our family has endured so much heart damage over the years. However, the support from close family and friends is the only reason our family is as strong as it is. I want to thank you, my mother, for taking the time out and for really putting your life on hold to make sure that our family unit stays strong. We have our issues. We
Who
have our
doesn't?
conditions.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we know that we're a family and we stick together.
Absolutely.
And I've told you countless times that you have been my number one role model. I've learned how to find strength in the weak times. I've learned how to keep moving even when I was empty. I learned how to be selfless and make sure that others have what they need. But most of all, I've learned that I have to lead with kindness. Thank you for joining me. And next week's episode is titled The Heart Attack. And my mom will be joining me again, and we'll be discussing the multiple heart attacks that she's experienced throughout her life and her journey to wholeness. Remember to take time out throughout your day to check on the status of your heart. How regulated is your heartbeat? Is your heart muscle healthy? And are you keeping the blood circulating? I'm Nate, and you're listening to Vital Organs, paramount to the physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Until next time, thank you, Mama.
You're welcome, Sonny.
Peace out.